All right, so we are going to go over our questions that were in your journals, which will then in fact go over the ones that you should have uploaded to me onto Google Classroom. So this is our Friday, guys. I don't know about you, but I am ready for the weekend. All right, so want to keep in mind what our skill has been. It's our end in mind is identifying those qualities of our main characters by the main character's thoughts, by the words that they're saying, and the feelings that they're showing throughout our story. Okay, so those are going to be what we're looking for. Those three things are going to be supporting that quality. All right, so our vocabulary, we have recycle, which is to use again. I will be able to recycle I will be able to recycle the old paper in my classroom so that it can be used to make new paper. Increasingly is more and more. Collapse is to fall down. When the dynamite went off, the building is supposed to collapse to the ground. Retrieved is fetched. Humiliating is embarrassing. Despicable is terrible. It was absolutely despicable what the little boy did to the girl on the bus when he spit on her, when he spit in her face. So despicable is terrible. It's more than just bad. It's disgusting. It's gross. It is just horrendous. Staggered is walked unsteadily, and to survive is to stay alive. So those are the words that we're kind of thinking about as we run across them in context in our story. We want to be thinking about how have they used those words, and we're going to go from there. All right, so let's pull out the team talk, and I've got to be reading off of mine as you're going through yours. Number 1 says, what crime is Stanley found guilty of committing? What is the crime that he's sent to Lake Greenwood for? And if we look on page 24, it tells us what the crime was that he was committed. And it is B. He stole valuable shoes from a charity event. So if I go to page 24, which is what I'm wanting you all to do, the very last paragraph, it says, it turned out the sneakers had been stolen from a display at the homeless shelter. That evening, rich people were going to come to the shelter and pay $100 to eat the food that poor people ate every day for free. So this tells me that this is a charity event. So rich people are going to give $100 to get to participate or to see what life is like for those at the homeless shelter. So they're really giving that money away. It's a charity exchange. Number 2, why does X-Ray want the smaller shovel? And if we go to page 27, so in our own words, we could say that X-Ray wants the smaller shovel so that he has less to dig. And then we would say our evidence to support that is on page 27, paragraph 1 to paragraph 3. It says, the shovels were 5 feet long from the tip of the steel blade to the end of the wooden shaft. The hole would have to be as deep as his shovel. And he'd have to be able to lay the shovel flat across the bottom in any direction. That was why X-Ray wanted the shortest shovel. So that's your evidence, that whole paragraph there, that is supporting why he wants it. Question 3. Why does Stanley have a hard time digging on his first day? That's going to take us to page 28. And there's a couple of reasons why he has a hard time digging. The first one that we could talk about is that he has a hard time digging because his hands are so soft. And we know they're soft because he gets a blister on his thumb, and he talks about how painful it was. And the second reason that he has such a hard time digging is because the ground is so hard at the surface. So, and then we could say our evidence to support that is 1, 2, 3, 4. On the 6th paragraph, it says that a blister had formed in the middle of his right thumb and it hurt to hold the shovel. So you only get a blister if your skin is soft. And then we could talk about how the ground is so hard. At the top of 28, it says he placed the point of his shovel on top of it and jumped on the back of the blade with both feet. And the shovel sank a few inches into the packed ground. Now, if the ground wasn't hard, you could just dig it normal, but he's actually had to like hold the shovel up and then jump onto the actual blade part to get it to crack down into there. So that's our textual evidence to support both of those. Our very last question says, what is a quality of Stanley's character that you identified from today's reading? Use details from the story to support your answer. This is taking me all the way back to page 24. Okay, 24 is where I'm going. In the middle of the page, I'm going to read this paragraph, and then I want you to think about what can you pick out. Stanley couldn't help but think that there was something special about the shoes, that they would somehow provide the key to his father's invention. It was too much of a coincidence to be a mere accident. Stanley had felt like he was holding destiny's shoes. So, based on his thoughts there, what is a quality that we can pick out about Stanley? And I think the key phrase is that he was holding destiny's shoes. This paragraph is showing us that Stanley is superstitious. Now, if you don't have superstitious down there, you need to correct it. That he's superstitious. Or that we could say he believes in fate.